Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into today's fourth and final video. We're going to have a look at the weather for the next 10 to 14 days for today's final video. Day 10 will take us 16th of July, and we'll be able to extend out beyond that with CFS V2 ensembles, maybe I'm trying to go weeks. We'll have a look at CFS V2 at the end of the video for the next 4 weeks, gets us into the beginning of August, and I should get on with that for you in a moment. Just say that first. Beryl is today was our 6am UK weather forecast. We've also released weekend forecast and the EC42 day. Check out all our today's videos and content. Thank you so much everyone for doing that. Like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Thank you so much everyone. Hey, having a lovely Saturday. Right, going to start off with situation in the Gulf of Mexico. We've got former Category 5 Hurricane Beryl now as a tropical storm in the Gulf, giving maximum sustained winds of 60 miles per hour with a minimum central pressure of 999 millibars. Going to here, we can see that Beryl is forecast to become a hurricane again, actually going to power up, and track of this has changed a little bit. So Mexico gets reprieve actually, but much more of America, the state of Texas, is going to be seeing this significant area of low pressure that will become Category 1 Hurricane Beryl. So at the moment, Beryl is just here as a tropical storm. We're going to curve northwards and slam into the Texas coast as a Category 1 hurricane in the beginning of next week, and then pushing northwards into Arkansas, those states of the southeast part of America, and go post-tropical then. But we'll still be getting copious amounts of rain to that southern, southeastern portion of America in the course of next week, especially the early to middle part of next week. So if we go up to discussion, just here, we can see that at the moment, Beryl is giving maximum sustained winds of 60 miles per hour, hence tropical storm rather than hurricane, but will be powering back up to become a Category 1 hurricane in 2 days' time, 48 hours time, giving maximum sustained winds of 80 to 90 miles per hour, so Category 1 Hurricane Beryl, moving into the Texas coast, through the early part of next week, and then going post-tropical, and that should be the last we hear of what has been a tremendous and phenomenal storm for so early in the season. Right, let's come back home. Central temperature is currently sitting at 14.2, ticked up a bit yesterday. Still 1.8 degrees below the 61 to 1990 average. That is provisional to yesterday, to the 5th of July. Let's do a bit of CET Saturday. This is the Central England Temperature Index going all the way back to 1659, the oldest and most reliable temperature record anywhere on Earth. Of course, further back you go, the more unreliable it gets, and becomes a projection more than finalised data and whatnot. Nevertheless, it's still very useful for being able to compile a long-term temperature record. So if we come down to 2024, we can see that January came in at 4.7, close to average, but February, March, April and May all very warm, particularly February at 7.8, May at 14.1, but June brought a stop to that. June was 14 degrees, which is about average, but slightly below, but about average for 61 1990 average, but it's significantly cooler than anything that we've seen through this year so far, and actually it's a little bit below the CET that we have for May. So I had June cooler than May, which is a very unusual development. Now, July, CET going to go just here. Let's have a look at some past Julys. Well, it's only a couple of years ago, but it had very hot July. CET 18.2. It's followed by an even hotter August at 18.7. Tremendous summer 2022. And, of course, we reached 40 degrees for the first time in modern history, anyway, back in July 2022. You might have thought that would be hotter, but actually July 2018, I'm sure you all remember, was another really hot July. That we had a CET of 19.2 and was even hotter than 2022. Had a very hot July in 2013 as well, CET 18.4. That brought to an end the run of colder summers or cooler summers that we'd had before that. The hottest July on record is actually 2006, had a central temperature of 19.8. That is the hottest July and the hottest month within the entire CET index. Quite some time ago now, coming for 20 years, and still hasn't been beaten despite, the very hot Julys that we've had over the past few few years. 1995, what a tremendous summer that one was, including a July CT of 18.5. And Shrine tells that is one of only 2 times, but we actually saw a 20 Celsius CT, not even a calendar month, but over 2 months. So July 1995, from the 24th of July to 23rd of August, had a centering temperature of 20.3. So, not over the calendar month, but within a 30-day window. The other time that has happened was in the Daddy, the daddy of hot summers, 1976 in June to July 1976, which from the 22nd of June to 22nd of July 76 had a CT of 20.1, and July 76 overall had a centering temperature of 18.6 as well. What about cool Julys? So we talked a lot about the hot Julys, but there have been some very cool Julys as well. So I suppose the most recent very cool July, I'm looking for one. So we've had a few in the 15s, we had 2007, the infamous 2007 with a central England temperature of 15.3. So, that was a really bad summer indeed. And in fact, all the 3 summer months had CT in the 15. So June was actually quite warm, 2007, but July and August were very cool. We also had 2004 with a July CT of 15.7. So that was a pretty grim one as well. 2000 had a CT for July of 15.3. Have we had one? So we've got 2011, 2012, both in the 15s as well. I think there the last time we also had just here 2020 at 15.8. So I've had a few recently in the 15s, but it's been a long time since we've had a July CT in the 14s. 1993 just here. That's 15.1. So I think I'm going to go all the way back to 1988, actually, for the last time I had a July CT in the 14s at 14.6. That was a really bad summer and one of the worst Julys in the CT record. Going even further back, though, the coolest July of the 20th century was actually a long time ago, back in 1922. So that's one of those funny statistics where, 100 years exactly from 2022 back to 1922. What a contrast they were. And July 1922 had a centering temperature of 13.7 in the 13s. So, in fact, we had June at 13.8, and also a really cold August as well in 1922 at 13.6. Can you imagine how terrible that summer must have been? And even September was very cool in 1922 at 12.2. October 8.2. That's really cold for October as well. So, can you imagine that run there of really cool months? But July and August 1922 were both absolutely atrocious and terrible. There is a cooler July, though, within the index than 1922, and it was in the year without a summer. Oh, well, I'm going too far back, aren't I? Yes, there it is. 1816, after the eruption of Mount Tambora in 1815 to 1816. And we had the year without a summer, so we had the June CT coming in at 12.8, really cold for June, and we had July at 13.4 and August at 13.9, and even September was cold at 11.8. So that is the infamous year without a summer, and 13.4 is the coldest July within the entire CT record and index during that infamous summer, the year without a summer of 13.4. There was hot summers, though, don't get me wrong, within that period, so we've got 1808, for example, which had a centering temperature of July of 18.4, and probably got to 40 degrees on the 13th of July, 1808, although, you know, there's no direct evidence of that. There wasn't all that many thermometers around, but it's estimated, but we probably got to 40 degrees in the summer of 1808 there. And there were other hot, you know, very hot July's, hot summers as well in that period. Got 1783, July CTF 18.8. So, you know, we go further back into the Little Ice Age, and whilst very hot summers were rarer, you know, it didn't happen as much as they do now. They did still occur. 1754 had a July CTF 18.4 for examples. They were the exceptions to the rule, more so than they are now. There's another one, 1733, 18.3 for example. So, you know, even back in the Little Ice Age period, there were still very hot summers and very hot Julys, very hot August at times as well. So, just to show you, even back in the Little Ice Age, we think of the Little Ice Age as being a time when it was frozen up, you know, like an icebound wasteland. Wasn't like that. There were exceptionally cold winters, but also you know, some milder winters as well, fair number of milder winters, and there were, despite being, you know, in the Little Ice Age, there were some very hot summers as well. Anyway, back shooting Saturday, hope you've enjoyed it. You can happily give the video a like, and thank you so much, everyone. We shall see, of course, let's come down here, we shall see where July 2024 comes in, and we'll know in about 3 weeks' time. Okay, let's move on then. So, this is how the GFS upper temperature and precipitation ensembles are looking. Looking at Oxford today, red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Oxford, staying up below average with the upper air temperatures at the moment. It remains cool. We will see the upper air temperatures ticking up a little bit later this week. Then they'll drop again, though, as we get to the end of the week and into the weekend. And then after that, hovering quite close to the long-term 30-year average. But, you will notice the thick green line. That is the latest GFS operational run, and that becomes quite hot, actually, at times. And the GFS is definitely flirting with high pressure building in around the middle part of the month and lasting into the second half of July, bringing summer back, or giving us an arrival of summer, really. Precipitation-wise, though, got lots of wet weather to come over the next week. Plenty of rain on the way. After that, looks showery, but there's a bit of a drying trend opening up, I think, from the middle of July onwards. It's a little bit unreliable. You know, there's a fair few precipitation spikes there, though quite a few of the ensembles are probably keeping it quite unsettled. But there is a bit of a drying trend, I think, that's beginning to open up, and we should see how that progresses in the coming days. Temperature anomalies on the 6th to 14th July below average, not just the UK and Ireland, but through most parts of Western Europe. Precipitation anomalies from the 6th to 14th July, wetter than normal, especially so for England and Wales. Drier and average over Western Scotland. That's a sign of high pressure building out to the north and the west. Potential might develop into an area of high pressure over the top of the country by the second half of the month. Latest wind from that from Earth from nullschool.net shows we've got low pressure moving out into the North Sea, leaving us in this rather cool and showery northwesterly wind, more low pressure out of the Atlantic waiting in the wings for next week. And that brings us very nicely onto the chart data. This is how late UK Met Euro run. It's looking midnight on Tuesday. Low pressure heading in from the Atlantic. That's going to bring spells of potentially heavy and thumpy rain through the early to middle part of next week. Looking really quite, as I said, particularly focused on England and Wales. However, a bit of a change by the end of the UK Met Euro run by next weekend. Saturday, 13th July, a nice little extension from the Azores High beginning to build into country, possibly starting to settle things down and warm things up around the middle part of the month. I kind of bring this low pressure up from southwest approaches as well on Tuesday, so looking unsettled early to middle part of next week with heavy showers and long spells of rain. Once that gets out of the way, high pressure starts ridging in from the Atlantic, should bring something a little bit drier with it, perhaps still a bit showery, but more so than the UK Met. The high pressures are way to the northwest, rather than ridging in over the country, kind of ridging up to Iceland, which could leave us a little bit exposed still to low pressure and showery conditions. So out of the UK Met and out of Icon by next weekend, you can see the difference, much more of an extension from the ridge from the UK Met compared to icon, which takes the ridge up to Iceland. Now, a bit of uncertainty about that, but they're both sort of going for high pressure to start building through the Atlantic. Anyway, let's see what the KMA is doing. Indeed, low pressure brings lots of unsettled weather through the early part of next week. That gets out of the way. KMA also ridging in the Azores High quite nicely, so that settles things down by next weekend. What does he do about high pressure? Actually strengthens it towards Scandinavia through to the beginning of the following week. Up to the 18th of July, the end of the KMA run. Pressure's weakening a little bit, but I think we're still under high pressure really there. It might be a bit showery, but certainly drier and warmer than we've had through this month so far there with the KMA. The GFS midnight run looking like this once more, very unsettled through the early to middle part of next week with low pressure in control. We keep it pretty showery up to the end of next week, but then high pressure starts to ridge from next weekend onwards. And as we go to extended, look at this, we develop that into quite a big area of high pressure. So just beyond day 10 to the 17th of July, we're actually high and dry with quite a large area of high pressure at 1030 millibars taking over, and then we're off to the races. We're off and running, man, throughout the rest of the GFS midnight run with a large, strong and stable area of high pressure bringing dry and potentially very warm to quite hot conditions. So third week of July really picking things up, really seeing summer stepping up, not just one gear, but maybe 2 or 3 gears compared to what we've had so far. It is extended range show and it's a GFS, so you know, just be cautious. Let's see what 6 it did. Now, we know this becomes a warm outlier later on. Let's see how that happens. Starts off with low pressure southwest approaches, bringing wet weather, showers on the rain, maybe thunder for the early to middle part of next week. Beyond that, it gets out of the way, below gets out of the way. The ridge builds up from the southwest again, turns drier and warmer into next weekend. Then we go flat and westerly, mostly dry and warm in the setup. It could be a bit unsettled still up in the north. And then the high pressure strengthens again into the second half of July, 17th, just beyond day 10. Nice ridge from the Azores High, bring lots of dry and warm weather with it. And the high pressure sticks around then, so through the third week of July of a 6Z, also looking mostly dry and very warm. Look at that, and got a big area of high pressure, so very dry. Could be quite hot. Let's see what the upper air temperatures are looking like with that. No, we've got 15 Celsius into the south and southeast. That could well lift the temperature, given some sunshine, up to about 30 degrees. So not excessive, you know, not over the top, not like we have in July 2022, but given what I've had through this summer so far, not too bad at all if you're waiting for some much drier and warmer weather. If you enjoyed the video, please do like, share and subscribe. Thanks so much everyone for doing that. Drop a comment, let us know what you think about this and all of our videos and content, and don't forget to tell your friends about GavsWeatherVids. Get them to subscribe too. Thank you so much everyone for doing that. GM, again, bringing the low pressure in from the southwest on Tuesday and Wednesday, looking unsettled through most of next week, but then we get this ridge from the Azores High by next weekend, turning things drier and also warmer as well. Up to date, basically we're high and dry. Could still be a little bit showery, especially so in the east, but I think overall the trend is definitely there to start settling things down from next weekend onwards. And then finally the ECM bring us low pressure up from the southwest approaches on Tuesday and Wednesday, with heavy showers, long spells of rain and maybe some thunder. Then high pressure beginning to strengthen by the end of next week into next weekend. Look at this, a nice ridge from the Azores High up towards Scandinavia. That develops into an area of high pressure by the time we get through to day 10, which is Tuesday 16th of July. We are high and dry, much drier, much warmer conditions. Summer is back there with the ECM by day 10. Goodness gracious me. Okay, let's have a look at the precipitation forecast based on that ECM run from Meteo.com. Showery at the moment and staying that way for the next few days. Then turning very wet. Look at all this rain coming up from the south during the beginning of next week into Tuesday, oh dear, followed by further showers and longer spells of rain towards the last stage of next week, though things start to dry out. It's a slow process, but gradually things drying out. So by the time we get through to day 10, look at this, we're mostly dry across the country under that area of high pressure. These are the options on the table within the ECM Ensembles Day 4, Day 10 from the Icelandic Met Office gets us to the 16th of July. 25 members of the ECM Ensembles have high pressure rising up to Scandinavia and through the country. Low pressure's out in the Atlantic. That's turning drier and warmer. It does include the control and the operational run. 13 still looking rather weak with pressure, low pressure in the Atlantic. Probably still keeping things quite showery there, and then another 13 with high pressure, more or less over the top of the country. That's much drier and warmer. If we put 25 here to get with the 13 there, the trend within the ECM ensembles by day 10 is to develop high pressure. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. Will get us to the 21st of July. 80 members of the ECM ensembles with high pressure reaching through the UK into Northern Europe, that bringing dry and potentially very warm weather. 17 low pressure just over to the east of the country, that could keep things cool and showery, and then 16 with high pressure from the Azores reaching into Western Europe, low pressure up towards Greenland and Iceland with jet stream up there somewhere. So the 18 and the 16 still indicating that ECM ensembles are both day 10 and also day 14 strongly towards high pressure being in control. CFS V2, finally, remember, CFS has been indicating this change for quite some time before, and if a shorter range model output, the CFS, has been quite bullish about developing high pressure from the middle and second half, the middle of July onwards into second half of them. Let's see what it's doing today. Now, week 1, 6th to the 12th of July, still keeping low pressure in control, mostly cool and unsettled for weekend. But look at this, big change to week 2. It's the 13th to the 19th of July. No pressure, high pressure I should say, right over the top of the UK and West Europe, much drier and warmer. Week 3 is going to be the 20th, 26th of July with high pressure, more or less low country, bit of low pressure up to the north, could bring some westerly winds to Scotland, but most areas looking quite dry and warm there. And then week 4 sees a bit of a change. This is the 27th of July, 2nd of August, high pressure beginning to weaken and break. Probably doesn't show low pressure, but probably lower pressure with the jet stream coming back. There's perhaps transitioning through that end of July to early August period, something a bit cooler and more unsettled. This is all looking very similar to what happened in June, I have to say. Remember, June started off cool and unsettled for the first week, 10 days, then a slow, gradual process towards something drier and warmer. So by the third week of June, it was mostly dry and quite hot, and then the final week of June saw a change back to cooler and showery conditions. That's brought us through to this cool, showery period, but with having through the first week, 10 days of July. So it looks like July could progress very similar to June. We shall see, though, and time, as ever, will tell. We'll keep you updated. Okay, we're done. If you've enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much, everyone, for doing that. Drop a comment, let us know what you think about this and all of our videos and content, and don't forget to tell your friends about GavsWeatherVids. Get them to subscribe too. It's amazing, it's incredible. Thank you so much everyone for doing that. Long video today, over 20 minutes. I've not been able to do a 20-minute video for quite some time actually. I don't think I've done a 20-minute video since I fractured my ankle actually, but it is starting to feel a lot better. I'm able to sit here just a little bit longer maybe. I don't know, but if you enjoyed the video, please give us a like anyway. I hope you enjoy CT Saturday. Right, I'll just tell you what's coming up tomorrow. We're going to have the UK weather forecast. We're going to have the next autumn update, which I think is update number 3. We will have the, I'm going to try and do GavsWeatherVids Sunny Roundup. I think we'll get that done for you. And then we will be live at 6 p.m. tomorrow with the 10 to 14 there and some long range because it's sunny live stream. So we've got to do some long range. About to be coming up at 6 p.m. tomorrow. You enjoy the rest of your Saturday. I know England are playing at some point. Not sure what time. It's about 5ish. I don't know. But whatever you're doing with this Saturday, watching England and whatnot, have a nice rest of the day. And we'll see you tomorrow either for one of the videos or for the live. But for this one, that's all for now. And thanks so much.